Where do you put deadlifts? Do you put them on back day or do you put them on leg day? The very old question that's plagued everyone in the gyms around the world, for those that even deadlift. It's one of those lifts that it's hard to categorize. And depending on your answer to that, is going to dictate a lot of your training. So today I decided to deadlift on leg day, which is a costly endeavor because there is no other exercise on the face of the earth that is more taxing to you than deadlifts. However, when you do the deadlifts, you wake up. You really wake up, man. And that's what happened to me today. I did a 250 deadlift, and my God, was it slow. Mind you, I've had a lot of questions about this. Yes, I am doing a wider stance, kind of like a strongman deadlift. Why? Well, because I'm not in a deadlift phase at the moment. So I just want to do something a little different. Wide stance is tricky for me. So just widen it a little bit to kind of hit a slightly different angle, which is going to keep the weight down, which is going to kind of lend itself well to me focusing on squatting. So that's the reason. I did that, 250. And then I, warm up my hips with the adductors and whatever. And then I went to squats. I got up to 180, which has been my working weight for a long time. And I thought to myself, man, that moved really well. I think it's time to level it up. So I did one set of 180, a set of 5. And then I went up to 190 and did 4 sets of 5. Now, is it a coincidence that I up the weight on the same day that I do the deadlifts? The reason why I say it woke me up is because I reckon if I didn't do the deadlifts, the 180 would have felt like normal. Today was noticeably lighter, and I reckon that's because only a few minutes earlier I had 250 in my hands, and so my body was woken up to that. And so when you go down to lower weights, even 10 kilos means a lot. And so then I went up to 190. I did 4 sets of 5 there. Now, for the last couple of weeks, I've been wondering how long can I keep, pushing this progress with the working sets being 180 for 5x5. I've gone from a 215 squat to up to 232. And the entire time, my sets have been 180 for 5x5. Some weeks were easy, some weeks were tough, and it wasn't always linear. I'd go up and down in terms of difficulty. But in the last week or so, 2 weeks, I want to say, I haven't had the lower back pump. My God, the lower back pump is back today. Oh my God, that last set of 5 with 190, oh my Lord. I'm sitting here right now and I'm like in proper discomfort with my lower back. It's not a negative lower back, it's just a pump that I've dealt with many years. And when I push, this is kind of what really makes me stop. It's that lower back pump. It's not the quads, it's not anything else, it's the lower back. Which you can interpret many different ways. You could say, it's a lumbar spine. Musculature is the rectors, which I definitely feel. But, you need to be very careful of how you diagnose these things because it could be also the hip flexors, could be my core. Why do I say that? Well, the psoas originates from T12 to L5. It's a fan muscle. Every vertebra gets a piece of that muscle. And it basically goes through your core and inserts into the inner medial aspect of your femurs. And so when you have a tired hip flexor, it's exhibited in the same way as a lower back pump. It's similar. It's very, very close sensation. You need to be an expert to kind of tell the difference between the two. Also, you might have a lower back pump, and it might all be the erectors, but they are pumped because the psoas has let go as an antagonist, and it's letting go, and all of a sudden the lower back takes the brunt of it. So it's all linked, and it's not always where the symptoms originate. That's where the cause is. That's where the problem is. That is a very novice way of looking at it. Some things do go like that, but many things in medicine, in physiology, do not go like that. Case in point, my hip pain. So anyway, I got through it. And so hopefully now I can work with 190 as I go on. I'm going to keep the deadlifts in the mix. I think it's a really good wake up movement, if not anything. I'm just doing a single. I'm not doing any volume with that. all of my energy goes towards the low bar squats, and then at the end I just finish off with split squats, with belt squats rather. But today is a slog. As predicted, today is a very long session. I've been here more than 2 hours. Very, very tired, very exhausted. But now the benefit of moving that deadlift to the leg day is that I can do the leg day as my number one session, day one of the week, which means I basically have 5-6 days until day 7. Hopefully I can do day 7 and not day 6, depends on life, but I essentially get +1, maybe +2 days of recovery. So it's a harder day for sure. However, there is a longer rest period until I start doing the max. So I definitely win some recovery, but I pay for it up front because it's a very, very tiring day, very exhausting day. So I predict the next couple of days I'm going to be very, very tired. I'll be very sore. My back is absolutely smoked. And I will see how my back day goes tomorrow. So back day tomorrow is going to be just chest supported rows, which I anticipate because of the nervous system absolutely taking a dump tonight. I'm going to have to lower the weights tomorrow. And as a result, I'm going to have to probably change something up. I'm thinking do some cables first, pre-exhaust the lats, and then go into rows. Something like that. But, recently I've been really focusing on my back as my first, fresh, day one of the week. But that means day 2 is leg day, which means I'll lose a day of recovery. Obviously, why am I confined to a 7-day cycle? I can do whatever I want. I'll try to make it work 7-day cycle because it fits with school, with the kids, with work and all that stuff, with the routines. If I go on an 8-day cycle, that means week to week my days will change because I'm superimposing 8 days on a 7-day week, and then every day is going to be kind of moving. So some days I'll be maxing on Monday, some weeks on Tuesday, Wednesday. It's moving all the time. It's very hard to kind of predict that. And it's also very hard to request a roster based on something that is fluid and moving already, which is very difficult. So I'm trying to kind of, have some sort of structure. This period is very, very taxing. I'm in this freaking peaking / building phase, and it's, I'm kind of doing a, undulating periodization where I have both qualities in one block, which is peaking and also building. I'm doing a 5x5, and then at the end of the week I'm doing a single. So it's undulating. The only thing I don't have is a medium day somewhere in the week, but I'm doing a light, let's say, very volume intensive session, and then I have low volume and high intensity, which is the PR attempts. So I'm looking forward to see how the body, interprets this. I wonder if it's going to adapt a little better because I have more days. I'm also intrigued to see how tomorrow goes. I do not want to underplay the effect that the back training has done for squatting and everything in general. I'm definitely going to be very, very focused tomorrow. I just want to see how it's going to pan out. Thank God I've got a chest supported row, because this wouldn't be possible if I had to do barbell rows. Absolutely not. My back is absolutely fried right now, lower back, from the squats and deadlifts, and I would not be able to do any rows, bent over rows. That's impossible. I would not be able to hold a position, bent over position. So this only works because I have the machine at home, the chest supported row. If I didn't, then every single training block that I want to push, the back there would have been day 1, because once you do your rows, you can't do anything else. Rows, I have placed a lot of respect on that movement. I used to kind of frown upon it because it's a thief of resources. It takes away from squats, deadlifts, bench, everything, because it's so tiring. But I value it highly. And so, in the last, 2-3 months, I've given it the pedestal, right? I've put rows at the top. It's day 1, I'm the freshest and I'm doing rows. But so let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes. I also didn't plan doing chest supported rows for this long. I just wanted to give it a try. And I did give it a try, and it worked bloody well. I always thought I was going to transition into bent over rows with the barbell, because that was the undisputed champ for me when it comes to back movements. Translated so well to the deadlift last year. But the chest supported rows did something really well, and it did it at a cheaper price of recovery because it's chest supported and the lower back was spared. And so then I started doing crazy amounts of work, man, like 14 sets, 7 sets, one grip, 7 sets, another grip, very heavy. And in the last few weeks, I've incorporated some straight arm pull downs, like all sorts of stuff. And that's because my lower back is being spared. So I'm intrigued to see how tomorrow goes. I'm intrigued to see this new working weight, 190, which I think is part of the deadlift, part of the change. Once again, the CNS got woken up by the deadlift. So maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe this is going to add another few weeks of progression on the squat. Maybe not. Let's see how it goes. I'm really intrigued to see that. But for the next few days, I'm going to be very, very sore. I already feel it. 190 is a lot of weight, and I did 4 bloody sets of it, including one set of 180, which is the usual. So lots of work, very hard day. But now I have an extended period of rest, daily singles, daily practice. Other than tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a bag day. And then let's see if I can recover enough for the weekend. And then I'll try 235. And 235 is scaring me. It's a lot of weight. 232 scared me, and I was very nervous. So let's see what happens. Like always, guys, I appreciate you, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out.